Hello, everybody. Welcome to Angels 911, calling in the legions. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to see how we connect into the stream. Just want to give everybody a heads up that this is my first time streaming to Facebook and to YouTube simultaneously utilizing the software. So we'll do our best, right? That's what we know. I want to just say thank you to all of my beautiful Angelhood members who are here early. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the light for me to get on. I did have a little bit of, let's say, fur people to wrangle. You know, there's construction going on upstairs for my unit. There's vacuums in the hall, all sorts of things that animals love. So the puppies have been on patrol. So thank you for being patient, being your patient selves and waiting for me to get in. Oh my goodness, there's so much happening today. I want to actually adjust my mic because last time I remember it made some interesting noise. So I'm going to put it on my scarf. Okay. It's a big black thing, but that's okay. All right. That reminds me of something that happened this week, which is kind of funny, but I'm not going to go there. All right, then. So here we are. How are you? How is everybody holding up? I know the energies, as always, have been very highly fluctuating. And I would say, dare I say, thick with potential and possibility and purpose and intense at times. So just know we are leveling into areas that we haven't experienced before. We are coming into a time of tremendous discernment, and the ability to trust ourselves first and foremost is what's on the table, what's on the docket. So blessings to those of you just waving and smiling and coming in now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hearing the clarion call, because today we are calling in the legions. Now, what does that mean? For those of you who don't know what I do, let me just tell you a little bit about myself so we can give time for people to join. My name is Stephanie Lodge. People know me as the Hug Angel. You might be watching this on Facebook, in fact, under my Hug Angel group, or on Angelic Academy. There's a lot of places here on Facebook that you can find me. But what I want to say is I am what you would call a quantum angelic advisor. What does that mean? What that means, and again, I wear many hats, so this is the one I'm choosing to wear today. But what that means is we are elevating into a state of consciousness that goes beyond our norm, right? Our normal 9 to 5, our normal taking the kids to school, our normal standard of living that we've been kind of doing for millennia, maybe, I don't know. But now we're going into what I call the quantum. And again, quantum means different things to different people, how it's used and abused in many ways. It might not really apply always, but what I'm going to say, what I mean by quantum means we are going beyond the seen. We are going into the unseen, the particular little elements of things, what you might call the photonic fields. This is the light fields. For those of you who know about photons, this is light particles. We are recognizing, similar to what Nikola Tesla has said, we are energy, frequency, and vibration. And as we begin to recognize this more and more, people begin to open up more and more to their higher states of consciousness that are accessing those elements of energy, frequency, and vibration that is informing all that they are. So what I do is I assist people in recognizing their quantum levels of existence, and I put it in the framework of angelology. Now, angelology is a philosophy. It is not a dogma. It is not something you have to believe in. In fact, I prefer people use it very loosely as a way of just recognizing certain states of consciousness, or angles, the angel angles of consciousness that are always streaming to us, broadcasting 24/7 to us. And as they're coming into our systems, what I call our interface or our halo, they are holographically informing and assembling and organizing who we are. And when I mean they, I just mean these almost like fiber optics, these fiber optic networks, okay? And so I call, for instance, what some of you might refer to as Archangel Michael, I call him the sapphire light stream. And the sapphire light stream is safety, security. It is recognizing that we are always protected and unconditionally loved. That is a core frequency. that also informs our ability to trust others and trust ourselves. And this is where we are getting hit, if you will, or distorted the most. This is where we've been distorted the most for centuries in terms of our understanding of self and others. And I would say that we are moving into, oh gosh, just a time where trust becomes a commodity. Do you have enough trust, you know? And is your stock going up in trust, or is it going down on any given day? And this is what we are really learning about as a whole, as a collective. So Angels 911 is designed to really bring us into a collective energy field of the sapphire light, of that energy of safety, protection, security, of that energy of understanding that at our core, we are immortal, eternal light beings. Ultimately, we are consciousness on demand. We are constantly getting informed. And when we are able to recognize about ourselves, we see that in others. But until we recognize that about ourselves, we continue to play the blame game. We continue to see others as less than. We continue to see others as different, separated from us. We're still in a state of duality consciousness on extreme levels. That is what we are seeing now in the world, of course, especially in the United States with our political race going on. So there's everything really on the table right now to look at as far as where do you still feel separate from yourself? That is what is showing up for you. And also, I would dare say, where are you judging? Because when we're judging, we are still, again, placing ourselves in immediate separation. And when we have an experience with someone, we are experiencing ourselves through them. I'm going to repeat that one. When we are experiencing anyone, we are experiencing ourselves reflected through them, in them. So for those of you who like to blame narcissists, for those of you who are the empaths who are like, oh, I have so many narcissists, I get to blame now. There is an inner narcissist you get to look at, and that's the truth. And usually it's because you had to create one, to be around one, to survive one. As a parent, maybe you had one, and meaning one of your parents was a narcissist, so you created your own little version just to be like them, the mini-me, so you could survive their consciousness and interface with them and get some semblance of love assembled within your experience or your halo. Halo, harmonically aligned light optimization, or harmonic alignment light optimization, is a practice of halo. Holographically assembled light organisms or organizations is what I'm referring to, though, in this case. So I'm just kind of differentiating for those of you who know my work. So this version is really the operating system of your energy field. What people call your aura, which is very close to your body. There's another energy field, meaning your aura can expand into, that interfaces with the rest of the world. And that is what I'm referring to as your halo. And so it contains a lot of information. Over the years, you acquire a lot of information. You also acquire something I like to refer to as dust bunnies. Sometimes those bunnies get a little chatty. They become little monkeys, and then you keep feeding them bananas of belief, and then they become gorillas. And this is when people start to say, ooh, I feel an entity in their field or something. I want to be very clear. These are all man-made or human-made conditions. There is no devil out to get you. I want to be very clear for those of you who have been programmed to believe that there's some enemy of your state of sovereignty. No. There is no overbearing guy with a pitchfork, some type of person, Satan, call it whatever you want, that is ever going to come out and get you. There's no boogeyman. There's nothing out to get you. That is all human programming. Because why? Because it is the separation of our frequency of the sapphire light, or Michael, which is essentially that frequency that informs us, that says all is well, all is safe, I am secure, and I can trust. And that is the first frequency that goes into distortion from a very young age, because you have a boo-boo, you fall down, and have a boo-boo. Or you have a parent who says, no, 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 don't do that. So there's always this opposition coming in. So that program runs deep. It runs in your DNA. It runs genetically for massive amounts of ancestry. of just oppositional force. So that's what you can call it. I really want to get us out of these ideas and these dogmas of Christianity, Abrahamic traditions of all kind. Let's just blame it all on everything, whatever you want to look at. It doesn't matter what you want to look at, you know, as far as what started it. There's no one to blame. It's just the human conditions, right? So it's the humans who've decided there has to be an opponent. There has to be something to overcome. There must be, because life happens in really horrible ways sometimes. Instead of just looking at it neutrally, that that's just life. Life happens. Things are born, things die, people get hurt. This is part of the life experience. We want to give it substance, and sometimes we give it too much substance. So my point is, when we are calling in the legions, when we are calling in these frequencies, and they're already here because I've already called them in just by being present with you, we are calling in that support that overrides the opposition that we've created for ourselves. And the people in your life who are opposing you right now, who are having limited beliefs around you, who feel just toxic or negative, I want you to be very clear on this if you can. I invite you to consider this. They are aspects of you coming in like a little insert in your holographic field saying, hi, you missed a spot. You forgot that little spot right there where you're still holding on to pain. You forgot that little spot right there where you didn't forgive your ex. You forgot that little spot right there where you're still not loving yourself. That's it. They're just here to show you where the smudges and the inclusions in your diamond are. So many of you know I work with the Diamond Heart operating system, and the Diamond Light. And this is one of my specialties. I work with transmitting the Diamond Light. These are the rainbow spectrums, are all bandwidths of source currency. And so right now I'm already in stream. That means I'm already transmitting this living light. That's the other word for it. I just call it the living light. And the difference between living light and non-living light is living light will always bring you into higher frequencies of joy, happiness, love, kindness, goodness, all that we cherish, all that we hold as serenity and peace, and these higher vibrations. It is always moving. It is never static, stuck, or concerned with limitation. So the living light is all that I allow for to remain within my presence always. This is what I do. I set parameters into my halo. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So I just want to say thank you. And you can learn more about what I'm talking about, by the way, at angelicacademy.com at any time. You're welcome to go there. But I just want to check out the chat room and see who's here. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. I'm going to be putting on some oils. For those of you who follow me in the Angelhood, you know, whenever you work in Halo with me, if you've done the Diamond Dream Alchemy experience or anything else, I always put a little frankincense on. I love my frankincense. So let's see who's here. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Ron. Good morning. Beatrice. Hi, sweetheart. Coming in from Italy. Love you, honey. Hi, Stav. Oh, my goodness. So Stav's my wing woman, just so you guys know why she's giving you some information in the chat stream. She is here to support. So thank you, Stav, for being here. Jeanette and Sandy, hello, hello, hello. And I'm sure there might be others, and if I've missed you, I'm so sorry. It's just what I'm able to see in this moment. Okay, so in addition to visiting Angelic Academy, you can also join the Angelhood. What is the Angelhood? I just want to give you guys this opportunity to know that other than Facebook, there is a space that is a bit of a sanctuary from the norm, all right? And this is a space I created earlier this year for beings of light, those who resonate with the kind of work I'm talking about, who are here to assist humanity, and they are here to elevate their consciousness. So the Angelhood is a space for that. It's a space for energetic exchange, for community, for loving each other, sharing our nature walks, sharing our art, sharing anything that's on our heart that we might want to cross-compare with others. Hey, did you guys have this experience this week? Things like that. So the Angelhood is a beautiful sanctuary, growing every day, and we just want to say you're welcome to come in and just go to theangelhood.com and you'll just answer a few questions. That'll be reviewed, and then you will most likely get in the door. And it's really beautiful to have you. So I'm welcoming you in advance to the beautiful Angelhood. I'm so excited to have so many members who are thriving in there and have been holding their frequency high, because that's really all it's about. How can we get our frequency up, right? We're in this time where there's a lot of waves, and I like to say, what's our bounce rate? How fast can we get back up high? right? Get back up to that light vibration, the happy vibration, things like that. So one of the things I want to talk about today really is this thing that I mentioned earlier, the subject of trust. Okay? Trust. And I'm just feeling the angels come in on this one. Hold on. Trust has a lot to do with where our heart is, where our heart resonance is. I always say our resonance is our residence. Where are we residing? Which dimension of consciousness are we residing in has a lot to do with what our heart is resonating at. So if you're having a heavy heart, if you're in grief, it's okay. There are things that cause grief, and that is normal, and it's not unusual to go into times where we have to experience heavier energies to open up levels of our heart, kind of the basement state sometimes where we're ignoring, the pain. We haven't been dealing with it. We've been pushing it away. We've been numbing it out, maybe with alcohol or some other, emotional equivalent. But the point I'm making is grief will come in when there's enough in the basement that needs to be cleared out, the clutter, right? And the reason for that is it wants to clear it out because it wants to make room for greater amounts of the light, of the living light to come in. So what else is the living light? The living light is what I would call faith. Now, faith I see as a frequency. So I want to be really clear. The only people who might not have a whole lot of faith going on might be agnostics or atheists, right? Because they don't really focus on it. Usually if you're following some type of religion, usually there's faith frequency going on there. And obviously spiritual people in general, spiritual, not religious people, have a lot of faith as a rule because they are creating their own frequency of it oftentimes. They're creating their own systems of belief. And I would say that's the most powerful version of faith you can have. If you wanted to say, what is the grade A version of faith? It is going to be the one that you have created yourself. You have created your own belief systems, or you have faith in yourself more than you put your faith in an external system to save you. All right? So I want to be really clear. We have all the faith that we need within ourselves. It resides right here. All right? The challenge we have is that oftentimes we are taught from a very young age and programmed, let's be honest, from a very young age, to put our faith in other things, mediators, churches, temples, anybody, priests, rabbis, doesn't matter. And it's not a judgment, it's just an observation that when we are in that, when we are constantly waiting for someone else, or we give our authority over to someone else who we think makes a better decision than we do. And this includes those of you who like to go to psychics all the time. I'm going to be honest. Psychic addiction is a real thing. Okay. I know some of you know what I'm talking about. You can chime in if you want in the chat. You don't have to, though. A lot of people don't like to admit to that. But sometimes people are always throwing their tarot cards or their oracle cards every single day, or they're always looking to other people. And have carpenters upstairs right now, which I kind of find ironic. So they're always looking to other people to give them the answers. And they're checking in with everybody else. I've been guilty of this. I do this sometimes. I check in with my friends. I'm like, hey, did you feel this? Did you get that? So we are remastering right now. For those of you who already feel you've mastered in many lifetimes your light, and you think of yourself as a spiritual teacher, and I consider myself that to some degree, right? But the point is, we are always in a state of remastery. I liken it to clearing off the dust off a vinyl record and making it CD, right? Before you lock it into the CD, you want to make sure all that music is really clean and pristine and clear before you record it onto the CD. So you're buffing out the scratches, clearing up the dust, right? So we're always remastering. Why? Because there's always dust coming in. There's always scratches coming in. So we're always going to be working on ourselves a little bit. So there's no destination in this. For those of you who are still running the 3D, 5D script, for those of you who don't know what that is, I highly recommend you look into it. But more importantly, this is not about getting to a destination. This is not about I'm going to arrive at 5D and there's going to be a big party. That's not how this works. Why because fundamentally there's an attachment to that. And what we're doing really is releasing attachments now. So the legions are here. Thank you guys for being here and assembling. I feel them coming in more and more as I'm speaking more and more. I'm just acknowledging them. And we'll be getting to them in a minute more so. But what I want to say is this. As we are attaching to outcomes and expectations, and I guess that's about it. Attachments to outcomes and expectations, we actually are anchoring ourselves more in the density of things. So in a way, we are putting ourselves back into the 3D density, the third density. All right, think of it like a density or a dimension. Now the fifth dimension, or 5 density, 5th density, it's not the end all be all, guys. It just isn't. We're going to be going up to 12, 13, 37. I've been up to 44th before, 47th even, they're telling me. So remember, it's consciousness that's entangled across the multiverse. And you are slipstreaming or veil walking through all of these levels of consciousness all the time. So to limit yourself to say, I'm going to get to 5D, or there's the 5D or the 4D or any of these Ds, I just want to be honest with you. I call this the diamond age because we are multifaceted diamond plasmic photonic beings who are waking up to this fact. And we have all sorts of programs and misinformation and disinformation designed to challenge ourselves and to buff ourselves into a higher radiance of understanding. And so just understand, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that you graduate out of. These levels of consciousness, sometimes you graduate out of and go into even more refined states of understanding and definition. So to me, we are always moving through multiple states of density or dimension. You might do a 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, back to 4. You know, you're moving around because your frequency, this system, is constantly fluctuating. And as you are in meditation, perhaps you're holding a high vibration, and that's why I recommend meditation greatly. But on any given day, if you're operating through the normal earth systems, you are moving through people and places and things that challenge you sometimes. So that's why I'm saying there's fluctuation and all that. And again, bounce rate. I give my clients and my students a lot to think about when I say, okay, put a bunch of post-its around the house that say frequency first, to remind yourself, because there's always going to be that phone call that comes in, that thing you see on television, you can't believe they said what, you know, that stuff. So it doesn't mean you have to stay in that state of high consciousness perfectly all the time. I don't want to give you guys that illusion that we always have to be these perfect, you know, spiritual beings. It's okay to have the human experience. That's, of course, that's why we're here. But when you find yourself getting, oh gosh, weighed down by what you're seeing in an overall wet blanket cloak over your halo, where you just feel heavy, right? And worry and fear and anxiety is also a part of that, by the way. So you might not feel heavy. Maybe you feel like you're in a good mood, but you're having always this little undercurrent of anxiety or worry or fear. Same difference, okay? It shows up in different ways, a little sneaky sometimes, about how we get caught in the web of all this stuff. So what I want to tell you today is we have the power through prayer or intention, call it what you will, it's just a label, to set certain parameters within our halo that only allows and only consents for the highest frequencies of living light. How many of you ever think to do that? Probably not many of you. Some of you do, I know, because you've been learning this from different people. But my point is, the majority of people probably don't go around going, I only allow for this, or they're not setting these parameters. They're not speaking their word into law. If anything, they're speaking words into their halo that probably they don't want to experience sometimes, right? And I would say it's really a good idea every morning to set a practice of speaking your word into law. Now, this law is one with the consciousness of all that is. All laws are basically put in place by the universal consciousness of source, God, love, life. call it what you will. And these are the impenetrable laws, the unshakable laws. They're totally neutral. They don't have an opinion. It just is what it is, right? That's the idea. It just happens the way it happens because that's how it is. And so we can sit here and try to bend the rules and do all these things. And this is where you get people who get into magic and ritual. And I wouldn't recommend doing that because that's a manipulation of the laws. It's also the breaking of the laws. And you incur what many call karmic debt when you do so. So be careful with that. And I don't mean just lighting a candle or something simple, you know, like for love and things that have good intention. But if you're ever putting an intention, like a spell, casting spell or spelling or word onto someone, be concerned. Okay? I don't care if you cloak it in light, be concerned. The reason I say that, and the reason I say this very seriously in this moment, is because there's a rate of return called the law of reciprocity. Now, why do I say be concerned? I guess the word concern is just saying be aware, but in not just aware, like I'm aware of things, like be aware, okay? Because the rate of return through the law of reciprocity is usually 10 times what you put out. So if you're ever putting out anything that is not of good intention, that is trying to create something in a way that somehow takes something away from something else, there's a balancing that's going to happen, and you don't necessarily want to be on the receiving end of that. And I'm just being very clear with those who are maybe just learning about spirituality and they're diving into things they do not know of, and they're trusting people who want to do what we might call magic. The mages, the energies of the mage, I would say can be up-leveled now to the energies of the Mare. The Mare are the Mary or the Miriam. The Mother Mary comes to mind. So Mary Magdalene comes to mind, and Mare means master. To go from mage to master, to even go from a goddess to a Magdalene, simply means that you are up-leveling and elevating the consciousness that you are taking off the training wheels, you are standing in the conviction of truth that you are, and you know that everything happens unto you as how you believe, how you act, how you are, the level of purity in your heart, the goodness, the kindness, the love that you radiate will come unto you multiple times, okay? So there's no need to manipulate anything. There's no need to force anything. There's no need to challenge. It's really a trust factor. Going back to the trust. We trust. We always stay in trust. Where do we get challenged with trust? Patience. Yeah. Patience. When we are impatient, all right, when we get to that place of impatience, it's because we're not in trust. You know you're not in trust when you're getting impatient. So whenever your impatience comes up, you want it now, you want it yesterday, it's reaffirming trust. So how do we reaffirm trust? Let's get to the alchemy now. Well, let's do this. I'm going to pull in the sound streams and open up the gates a little bit here. For those of you who know what I do, this is just opening up the frequency of the halo to acknowledge that we are an assembly here. We are a conscious council of light, celestial light right now happening already live. Thank you for being here. And know that we are doing some massive readjustments on the consciousness that's currently playing out on this planet, because fundamentally there are many who are still not in their trust. They're speculating beyond all the time. And the challenge with this, I want to say this before we open the halo. When we are in a field of speculation, when we are constantly speculating what's going to happen, what do you think is going to happen? And we're comparing notes and we're putting out our theories after theories after theories, we are creating multiple potential timelines. If enough of those timelines get captured and they get anchored into our consciousness and we buy into them, and you have one person, then two people, then 8 people, then 1,000 people, then 100,000 people, whatever, you now have created a potential timeline. You've created a potential reality, whether you like it or not. So if you're putting out potentials of speculation that are not good, meaning it's not a future you want to see unfold, I highly recommend you unplug, dissolve, and collapse out that timeline out of your reality, out of your system, and stop feeding it. your energy. I've talked about this many times, and it bears repeating because a lot of people continue to do this. And this includes futures that are speculated through astrology, futures that are speculated through any system of psychic or future forecasting, because the psychic is the thought stream itself. The psychic future forecasting is what I mean of when we start to potentiate the future. We say, this is going to happen. And so many times people fall into that trap of thinking, oh my God, this person's so psychic, they see the future. When in reality, what they did is they borrowed your consciousness. They read the potentials. They borrowed your consciousness to create that future because they got enough people to believe in it. And this is where it gets tricky. So just keep that in mind, bear that in mind. The best thing you can do is to come back into your center, the 0 point of who you are, what I call your sovereign state. Stay in your heart, stay in your trust, and visualize only the reality you want to experience. Let go of borrowing what other people think is going to happen, and come into your own experience. Regardless of what other people are saying, come back to what you want to see unfold in the world. Who do you want to see as president? Who do you want to, maybe you don't want to even see a president that's currently on the docket. Maybe it's some other reality you want to see as your government of your country. Whatever is going on in your reality, remember this. There are certain systems that make a lot of money off of your consciousness. They will do anything and spend buttloads of money to capture it, to get its attention. They do these with hooks called drama, and the drama hooks you in. It's like watching the train wreck, right? And I just want to be really clear that this planet can't afford all of us to be doing that. This planet really requires some of us to stay in sovereignty, hyper-neutrality, and design out a reality that we all want, which is vitality, to thrive. If you haven't seen the movie Thrive, I highly recommend it. It pretty much illustrates that we really want all the same things. We want to be happy, we want to eat healthy foods, have clean water, have a good environment, love each other, be able to connect. And now we're in a state of incubation because we are needing to go within and really get clear on trusting ourselves first and loving ourselves first. So that is what I want to kind of invite everyone to consider. And I know sometimes I repeat myself, but there's certain things that bear repeating because the human system tends to be a little stubborn, and it tends to have that certain programs of addiction. And those addictions can be to drama itself. If drama was your normal as a kid, if you had parents fighting in the house, be aware you're going to be really comfortable with drama. And it might take a minute for you to disentangle from that. You might also have been around a parent who complained a lot and worried a lot. So then you become the complainer and the worrier and negative Nelly all the time. You become the devil's advocate. And I'd like to say, who do you work for? Even though they don't exist, but you know what I mean. So just be aware that if you are that consciousness that is always looking at the the glass half empty. That's funny. You can really create that, right? Remember, you're creating everything. So always half full or totally full. Okay, I'm going to take, speaking of glass empty, have a little water. Okay, so we're going to open the halo now. Stop's like, okay. If you have any questions about what I'm sharing with you and confusion or anything of that nature, a couple things you can do. You can comment in the feed. You can comment in this, make a comment. Even if I don't get it to it live, I'll come back in and answer the questions later. So if there's anything you have a question about, clarity about, need, just a little bit more extra on. And I want to say this too. For those of you who do practice certain rituals, I want to go back because the angels are saying you ruffled some feathers. So I want to say this. It's not a demonization of anything. It's really just an understanding of yes and. Yes, you can do that. Great. And what else? There's more. There's more than that for you. That's all. So it's almost like the training wheels. It's something that we've been attached to. As well as, this is what I'm going to also say, you can take something that has been, that's okay, thank you, dogmatically corrupted or tainted. And this is what I mean by that. There's certain religious ideologies that have put maybe 90% of the frequencies good, but there's 10% that's not so great. Even that 10% corrupts the whole stream. All right. So it's like cyanide in the juice. All right. Can't drink it. So if you are following certain things of other people, maybe they've set up their own decrees, their own sense of prayer, the way they do things, that's only going to be as clear and pure for you as they are. So you're dependent on them and how clear they were when they pulled that information in or whatever. If you're following ancient rituals, let's say you follow, certain arts that go way back, again, highly religious infections going on because there were ways that they did things that had, and what's the word? Well, let's just say they relied on certain things that might not have been safe to rely on, all right? Redo them. Rewrite them into your own cellular living light makeup, because that's all static, dead light energy, basically, is the best way to say it. It's captured in a book, ancient, old. It's no longer holding the living light. Living light is on demand now, all right? It's how it streams through now. It's always evolving. It's always fresh and new and clean and pure. So you don't want the stagnant water, you want the waterfall, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're reading out of a book and learning, that's fine, but then put it into your own words and don't worry about being perfect. This is where the mental gets really into it. And when the mental starts to get into it, that it has to be a certain way, has to be exactly said like this kind of stuff. This is what I'm getting very specific about. Don't ask me why. This is what they want to tell me. My higher selves. So what's happening is that it's anchoring into the old paradigms. So you're still attached into the sticky of the 3D, if you want to call it that, or the old paradigm Earth. Everything's going new, guys. We're becoming newer and newer every day. So I just want you to consider that even if you are in certain practices and rituals that you really love, make sure they're your own. Rewrite the stories of them. Let go of all stories of before, and you are the living narrative. Okay, that's the best way to say it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, so here we go. So we're going to open up the halo with a little bit of sound to just center our hearts. Whenever I'm in stream and off the beginning when I'm live, I can't even tell you, so much consciousness is just wanting to come through, and I have to just know that I'm speaking what needs to be coming right now in this moment for who's listening. But I'm always like, where are we right now? And clearing some stuff too. Hold on. So it always makes me laugh because I don't really go back and watch these, but sometimes if I do, I'm like, what was I talking about? So anyway, just know I know that I'm speaking to many people, and so I'm trying to do my best to kind of manage all the different streams that are looking for support right now. Okay, here we go. Breathing into our hearts. Opening up the gates. Calling in the celestial councils of light. Calling forth the diamond light, opening up the diamond heart. The multifaceted living light of us. Opening up the crown. Reclaiming our sovereignty. Accessing sovereign state. Thank you. Okay. I hope you guys are doing well so far. I'm having a good time. Thank you for being here. All right, so what we're going to do is learn how to set parameters. Setting parameters are really important. When you wake up in the morning, instead of just jumping up, jumping to get your coffee or juice, your celery juice, whatever you do, to really take a moment before you step down onto the floor to receive the energy of Gaia, to set a parameter, to set intention. Okay, so here's an example of that. What I do is I call in my highest councils of light, and this means the aspects of what I deem as source frequency, wanting to inform me so that I can show up as the best version of myself. And what I do is I essentially connect to that source, plug in. Now, why do I do this? I do this because when you are sleeping, you are essentially leaving your body at an astral level. Your physical body is resting, getting a break, but more importantly, your soul gets to escape, gets to get out of the body, the physical body, untether itself, and go up into the higher states of dimensional consciousness. This is why sometimes when it comes back in for a landing, it might not feel so great. Sometimes people will get Charlie horses, sometimes other things happen. I've had exes that would, an ex of mine, my ex, he would get like paralyzed literally because the body wouldn't fully align right in. Really interesting things. But more importantly, when you are coming back into your body, whatever you're still remembering is your dream time, right? Is your subconscious essentially communicating to you what is required or what is important for you to know at the conscious levels. Because you're out there and you are essentially gathering a lot of information. Perhaps you are also working and assisting in other dimensional spaces. So you might think this is the only reality that you exist in, but that is not the truth. The truth is you are multidimensional. So you are traveling through and assisting in other places. Maybe you are an angel for someone else in another place. And maybe it's even here on Earth, right? This is what's really interesting when we start to explore these types of concepts. But to bring it back to setting parameters, when you come back in, you've picked up a lot of dust. It's like a Swiffer duster, okay? You've picked up some dust. Sometimes you'll come back in and you feel like you've been battling. Sometimes you come back in, you're like, oh my God, I didn't even feel like I got any sleep last night. I'm exhausted. And it's because you're doing a lot of work while you're in these other states of consciousness. So I just want to say this. You can set parameters before you go to bed too. And you can say, I'm off duty tonight. I need my rest. I'm staying close to home. All right. And that is totally okay and fine and appropriate to do, especially if you're tired, especially if you have adrenal stuff going on, stress, things like that. All right. Now, when you come back in, to plug back in, you need to anchor into your body because you're not 100% in your body when you come back in. So if you just pop out of bed, you probably can trip over things, okay, if you're not careful. So the word that I give, the parameter or the intention I set is anchor. Literally the word anchor. Anchor, anchor, anchor. And you can imagine kind of like a chain, a gold chain, just pulling your energy body back into your body, your physical body, and even anchoring to the planet, all right? And throwing an anchor down into the core of the planet. Now, for some, they need a little bit more than that because they tend to go fly high in the higher chakras, the higher arcs, as I like to prefer to call them, these arc or currents that we're running. Now, in order to bring yourself even more grounded into the connection to Gaia, you can imagine you are a tree. This is the trunk of the tree. Your higher self is like all the leaves and the branches, right? And then the roots come out the bottom of the feet, and you just see these roots. You can see them as gold roots if you want, however you want to see them, going down into the earth and pulling you down. And then the word anchor, 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 anchor. All right, so that's going to kind of set you into the body. Okay, so now once you're in the body, you can also call forth all levels of who you are. That means not just your current soul level that is experiencing your personality. So in my case, Stephanie, right? Stephanie's personality as me. I can call in all of the aspects of who I am. That might be a master mystic. That might be a writer. That might be a noble person, a king or queen. That might be another being of light. However you want to see yourself or know yourself or what you know you are, calling all those aspects in. And so the command that I use is I call forth all highest aspects of who I am, known and unknown, seen and unseen, that are of the living light and of the highest consciousness only. So this means I'm not looking to connect to the lifetime where I was impoverished and depressed and unhappy, that version of me. I'm only calling in the ones that are going to benefit in the elevation of my consciousness now. All right, so I'm not looking to connect into those levels that are going to lower my frequency right now. Now, there might be times where you're working on some of those aspects of you. Genetic lineage is what comes up for me sometimes, where I tune into certain genes of I have many bloodlines in me, like English, Irish, Scottish, French. I mean, you name it. It's like, forget about it. I'm United Nations. So there's a lot that I can work on at any time, including Cherokee. And so for me, there's a lot I could go into that would be painful if I wanted to and work on it. And sometimes I do. You know, sometimes I take those opportunities as they arise. But for the most part, I'm looking to connect to my higher states. All right. And once I do that, then it's a matter of setting my halo. Again, holographic assembled light organization or organism. And so that means the field around me, my field, right? That is essentially kind of like a shield, a buffer, if you will, an interface or a membrane or barrier between you and the rest of the world and all the other halos running around out there, okay? So it's important to set the intention of what your field looks like, feels like, senses. Otherwise, you can, especially if you're energetically sensitive like an empath, you have all sorts of things bumping into you and you're going to feel them all. And then you go around potentially complaining about them, okay? Because you're feeling all sorts of things that other people are feeling. You're in the grocery store and the person next to you just lost their dog and they're super depressed and now you feel kind of funky. And as you leave the market, you're getting really sad and you don't know why. Well, because you were just interfacing, their halo and your halo came in and bumped. And there's like data exchange. I kind of liken it to those phones where people used to be able to bump phones. I don't know if that tech still works, but and you could send a contact to another person. Do you remember that? So it's same idea. All right. So you want to set the parameters. Okay. So here's the main parameter I set. And sometimes I will call in what I perceive as my highest states of consciousness, which would be the celestial levels of who I am or the angelic levels. But you can do it just in your own right, however you see fit. And what I would say is this. I only allow for the highest frequency of living light and ultimate love to remain within my presence, within my consciousness, and within my heart always and forever. Now you can say this every day, it's still going to mean the same, but it's going to basically meaning you are putting it into all timelines when you say and forever, all right? Now, the other thing I will say is I know that I am sovereign beyond all measure and belief, and I claim my sovereign state now. And what does that mean? That is the sovereign statement. I know that I am sovereign beyond all measure and belief. That is a statement I use in my classes often to set frequency. I know that I am. The I know is your heart. The I am is your solar or your soul center. And so it is the claiming of the power of light that you are, all right? And the knowing of that with conviction, with confidence, all right? Sovereignty, again, free and clear of any interference. And beyond all measure and belief, measure of time, space, conditions of any kind, known, seen, unknown, and DNA, all DNA levels, because DNA is a multidimensional tool, and belief, conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious, even angelic conscious, whatever, any consciousness. What is created as consciousness? You are going beyond all of it and therefore you are at the 0 point, or the sovereign state. So now you are free and clear of any interference. So when we place this into our field as our parameter, place it into the halo. It's like you're programming it into your halo, like you're your own computer hacker or computer programmer. All right, that's really important, because now you've basically said, if you violate my law, because I am the word is law, and the law is one. That means it is heard by all consciousness everywhere, all source, and even from the womb of creation, the prime creative is aware, all right, in that moment that you have set this parameter, all right, it's quantum, so everybody's aware. So now if anybody decides to come in as the non-living light, they try to do anything to set any intention toward you that is what you might perceive as a psychic attack or something else, it is going to bounce back to them automatically with a rate of return, rate of interest, if you will. And it's always sent with love from you. There's no need to do anything. And I can't tell you how well this works. For me, I've had, since I've done this practice knowingly, it's even more so, but even before I really knew how to do this 100%, I would have people send me all sorts of ill intentions, like jealousy, envy, things like that. And it wouldn't be good for them, I'll be honest with you. And I didn't do anything. I just witnessed their life get a little bit weird. And I knew it was because they had ill will toward me for some reason. And you don't have to do anything. A pure heart doesn't have to do anything. It will automatically get taken care of to teach them that it doesn't serve them to do that. There's no reason to be jealous of anybody. When you know you and that person are one and come from the same creation, there's no reason to be jealous of them. Celebrate their triumphs. Celebrate their successes with purity in your heart, with love in your heart. Because we're all one. See the face of God in them. See the child in them. Do your best. I know sometimes that can be challenging. Okay, so that is how I set it. So now to reinforce it even more so, then we can go into the practice of calling in the angels. Now the angels, again, are archetypes of high consciousness. They are us celebrating us, really. They are us inviting ourselves in, really. But sometimes people see them as outside beings supporting them. That's okay. But they're really holographic creations of our own consciousness. And so what I do is I call forth these angels in order to illustrate that I'm serious about connecting to the consciousness of light and doing some alchemy work, doing some energetic shifting, not just going through my day. Now I'm in sacred self-devotion with myself. So this could be a form of ceremony, I guess you could say, but really what I look at is it's a practice. Some people call this powerful prayer, okay? But I would just say for me, I'm here to just assist us in finding a way to love ourselves at the highest levels, and it's always going to come into self-devotion. It's always self-devotion. All right. So here's an example. I call forth the angelic light stream, activating the sovereign light nations of Seraphim, Ophanim, Elohim, and Cherubim to be present with us now, creating an archangelic chamber of light around us now, utilizing the frequencies of Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael or Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Raziel, and I call forth these angelic frequencies of light to stream around each and every one of us into our hearts, into our halos, assembling a beautiful council of frequency to be present with us now, anchoring into the beautiful violet light stream of alchemy, calling forth Archangel Zadkiel to be present, anchoring in the ultraviolet and violet respectively with Lady Amethyst. And as this energy is coming in, I want to say this. We are here and we are held. And what I know is I only allow for the highest consciousness of living light and ultimate love to remain within the presence of each and every one of us. And any and all static distortion, decaying universal energy, or anything that is in defiance of love, may that be escorted out immediately from our hearts, For we only consent to Source. We only consent to the Creator of our souls to be present here always and in every way. And so as I know this for each and every one of us, what I know is this: we are elevating the consciousness in this moment of now to the Christed light, to the diamond light. And there are those beautiful beings that hold this consciousness. And I see them as the Christ councils of the Nazarenes and the Magdalens. And the Order of the Magdalene and the Order of the Monarch, I call them forth, and you may see them as Yeshua or Yeshua, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Grandmother Hannah. I also call forth the ancient ones, the ancient masters, such as Moses, such as Abraham. And I know in this moment of now that we are loved by all of humanity that is here celebrating us from the unseen realms. This means your ancestrals, those of your family and friends who are no longer here in physical form, but are here in your hearts. This includes your fur babies, the loves of your life sometimes can be those unconditional masters of love. Masters of unconditional love, yes, thank you. So what I know now, as we are anchored in a field of pure potentiality, pure sovereignty, pure graceful authority, that says this planet deserves to be in its highest light now. And we call forth the angels, the celestial beings of the highest councils to assist in elevating us from ourselves, from the element of frequency, the photons that move in and through us, the phonons of sound that vibrate as us. And as we raise our resonance, we raise the residence or home of our planet. We raise this frequency of our planet into the highest states of living light consciousness as a collective here and now. All children are seen as safe and secure, loved, healed, and held. All animals are seen as valuable members of society, as sentient beings, and we raise these standards of love now to include all sentient beings as one equivalent frequency of light. I call it the angelhood. We let go the labels of brotherhood, sisterhood. We let go the labels of all religions and states of separation, including political affiliation, including any type of cultural affiliation. Ultimately, what I know and what we know is that we are only love. There is only love happening right now in this moment. Everything else is theater. Everything else is entertainment. Everything else is a man or woman made conscious frequency of intelligence, here to teach us discernment, here to teach us patience, here to teach us how to trust ourselves even more, how to trust love even more, how to forgive ourselves and others even more. For it is the key of forgiveness that liberates humanity of all trespasses against us and against each other and against ourselves. That is what I know. And so I invite each and every one of us in this moment of now to just take a deep inhalation, a deep breath, feeling a beautiful frequency of platinum, titanium, and rose gold currencies of consciousness to surround us now, creating a beautiful mesh within our field, our halo. And this is an interface barrier, if you will, a buffer that is designed to keep you in the highest immunity of living light. It's designed to keep you balanced between the masculine and feminine frequencies of light. It is designed to keep your magnetic field free and clear. So as you draw in any experiences, all you need to do is focus on this moment of these three frequencies, and you can see them as living light flames surrounding and swirling around you like a vortex. You can see them anchoring into your halo as a mesh. However you see them, When you focus on them, when you anchor that image in your mind, you are in that moment alchemizing anything that is not holding the truth for you, that is something that you might say is a lie or untruth. And in that moment, you become a greater vehicle of discernment, you become a greater vehicle of love and hyper neutrality or neutrality, to know for that person that might be sending information out, might not know, so you get to know for both of you that again, there is only love. There is only abundance of life, that you are always supported by this abundance. And in that moment, you just let it in. And now I want you to imagine a beautiful waterfall flowing into the top of your head, beautiful waterfall of diamond sparkling clear light. And as this waterfall just flows into the top of your head, I just want you to know it is washing away anything that you wish to let go of now. It is washing away all the debris, static, intentions of consciousness that you have created or others have created for you. All programs of misbelief, anything and everything that no longer serves your highest state of living light consciousness. You are a vessel and a being of living light. The living light flows through you now. This is source frequency. This is love. There is only love for you. This is what I know. Feel that energy now. Anchor it into all levels of your being. Allow it to flow into every strand of DNA, lighting you up, amplifying your light, amplifying your halo, and knowing that this amplification is in service to not only you. As you heal self, you heal the world. This is truth. As you heal self, you heal humanity. You heal all sentient beings, great and small. The frequency of you ripples out. So I want you to imagine now that light is rippling out in all directions from your heart, beaming out in all directions like a supernova. And feel that go around the world. And as it goes around the world, it ignites the light within other hearts. It empowers people to remember who they are. And we become the angels that we have been asking for. We become the legions that we have been calling in. We are the legions. We are the ones we've been waiting for, as they say. So as we step into this moment of now, I love you. And you are lit. You are ready to go. Some people say we are woke. I like to say we are lit. And so do your best every day. Come back into this state of consciousness that says, I am the light. I am the love. I am the life. We are. Yes, we are. Taking a deep breath and exhale. And taking a moment to come back into this present moment of now, doing your best to find the state of peace in your heart, to let go of the stories, let go of the surroundings. And I want to invite you all to again visit angelicacademy.com, because let me just get that up for you. There are definitely tools there that you can discover. There's other videos there you can watch. I have complete ascension programs, essentially, that walk you through unlocking a lot of the programs that we have been bound to. And they're all existing at the frequency level. And I call Diamond Dream Alchemy one of the journeys. It's a 72-day journey that unlocks you from all that binds you to the inverted or distorted states. Okay, and brings you back into your highest states of light. I recommend the Diamond Heart Keys to start, because the Diamond Heart Keys really install the hardware. So the Diamond Heart, you learn about that. and you can learn more about how your whole operating system works from a very neutralized state of consciousness. That means it's not about the dogmas anymore. It's about finding our own way. And so what I would say is that is where the hardware is. That's where you'll find meditations and teachings, some of which will sound familiar to today. And then the Diamond Dream Alchemy is then a journey of self. And there's a lot that happens through Diamond Dream Alchemy. So just understand you'll enjoy that, but you'll also do a lot of work to clear out anything that's holding you back from finding the full abundance that you are, the vitality that you are, and the spiritual nature that you are truly. And I know there's many in the angelhood that can share. There's many testimonials on Angelic Academy that will tell you exactly what people have experienced through that. It's very exciting. I also invite you to subscribe if you're not on the Angelic Academy page on Facebook. If you're not on the YouTube, if you're not watching this on YouTube and you're on Facebook, please come and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd love to see you there, and you'll get alerted when I go live there. Sometimes I go on Facebook, sometimes I don't. So that way you won't miss a thing. My next broadcast is going to be Q and Angels. Now, Q and Angels is a little different. This is an kind of, let's say, interface between us, right? So you get to ask your questions. If you're a member of the Angelhood, you get to ask those questions in advance and have a better chance at getting them answered. So I definitely recommend joining the Angelhood as well. So I'm just going to put that up, and you can see what that URL is. Hopefully, yeah, jointheangelhood.com. And when you're a member of the Angelhood, you'll have also the ability to connect with light-minded individuals, your other fellow love beings. Okay, so just know that we are playing in the Angelhood every day. We have a little bit of something going on for everybody. And I always say, for those of you who are already part of the Angelhood, don't be shy. Share your brilliance, share your light, share your stories of awakening, and even those things that are on your heart. I also have a halo healing prayer field that is in the Angelhood, where you can always place your name or the name of a loved one who might need support or prayer, similar to what we did today. I will be praying it up, if you will, or putting it up into the higher consciousness, so that we know that we are creating and we are the beautiful angelic alchemists of light and love and frequency. So you can always find the halo there. It's under featured posts, and you can put your loved one's name, and you can put a little comment if they need extra special attention. And I know many of you have been taking advantage of that, and definitely it's an expanding, amplifying prayer field every single day that it is prayed into. So it's very powerful. And so I really invite you guys to join the Angelhood and find the healing halo, or the halo healing prayer field there. Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, this has been fun, everybody. I'm so glad we got to do this. And again, I am grateful for you being here. Again, I'm Stephanie Lodge. You can find me online in many places, but social media mostly as the Hug Angel on Instagram, on Facebook, Stephanie Lodge, the Hug Angel. And as well, you can find Angelic Academy on Facebook and on Instagram. I think we have Twitter too, the Hug Angel on Twitter, if you're a Twitter person. All sorts of social media options, including the Angelhood, which is its own kind of home and sanctuary. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Angels 911 today. I know that there was a lot covered, and we will do our best to continue this conversation next month as well. I believe the Q and Angels, Stav, do we have the date for that? I want to say it's the 10/20, right? Isn't it 10/20? I believe so. But anyway, you can go to angelicacademy.com and you'll see our events calendar, and you'll find Q and Angels there. That's when the next one is, later this month. I do 2 a month, Angels 911 and Q and Angels. That's my free offering to the world. Otherwise, you're welcome to come inside Angelic Academy, become an activated angel, if you will, or awakened angel, and accelerate your light, and then be part of my private circle called the Halo once you are enrolled. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all my Halo members. Thank you to all of the Angelhood members that are here. And yes, 10/20. Thank you, Stav. And I love you, and I will see you soon. All right. Big hugs. Big hugs. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.